to Money Mondays, Disrupt TV Studios.
How's it going? How's it going?
It's going good, man. We're celebrating Halloween.
I'm Gimli the Dwarf, and I got Guy Fawkes here next to me. So
hey,
figured we'd step it up. So I figured,
V for Vendetta, my friend.
This is what Ben used to look like before he had hair, guys. If you don't realize, I worked really hard.
No, it looks pretty good, man.
Yeah, but Money Mondays, we do this every Monday, 3:30 Central. We talk about a bunch of different topics for those of you tuning in for the first time. We do it every Monday, and we're happy to basically collect any ideas for topics people want to see. And if anyone has any ideas, feel free to reach out and let us know. But this week, we are talking about
finding off-market deals, the holy grail to our business.
I think that's the probably the biggest myth in this business. So we'll talk about what that actually means. So stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah. I think people are always like, "Oh, my deal's off-market. My deal's not off-market," right? I think we're going to kind of get into some of the discrepancies in that statement here in a little bit, right? But we wanted to kind of go through this kind of. Celebrate Halloween at the same time. We will take masks off here in a minute, but we wanted everybody that was kind of joining us right off the bat to kind of see us in this thing, But so, all right, let's get right to it, man, because we ran a little bit long last time, so we want to kind of be respectful of everybody's time. What is an off-market deal?
Off-market deal. So I think, everyone thinks an off-market deal is a deal that doesn't go through a broker, that only a mythical, secret set of people get to see.
Yeah.
Right? And I think, for me personally, it's one of the almost annoying thing whenever someone buying a deal is like, oh, I got it off market, but I saw that deal too. I mean, so there's a really off market, right? So I think really the off market came from, probably in the past where people used to do a lot more of mailers and kind of soliciting buyers directly.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think two things. It's too hot of a market right now.
Yeah.
And honestly, the brokers are really good at their job. They do fill a purpose, right? They are getting you top dollar. And so most people, most sellers don't really sell for off market. And we're talking about bigger deals, guys, right? 100 units and above.
Yeah, that's
right?
actually that's a good point.
So yes, off market still exists for smaller stuff.
So let's actually focus on that real quick, because some of our viewers, right, they might be trying to start off, get their first deal, right? And I'm gonna have to take this off, man, because guess what, everybody? As everybody knows, I love my Starbucks. And I need to have a sip. So we're going to go ahead and bite that bullet, my friend. But off-market deals are probably direct to seller is what I always considered off-market, right? Nothing that there's no broker involved. There's none of that happening, and you can do that at the smaller level, right? Say 5 to 50 units is probably a good example of that, right? Where you could do a mailer, or you could maybe potentially have somebody's phone number. You give them a call and say, "Hey, are you interested in selling?" And we actually know people that have done this. What are you doing, man? Focus.
I'm working on the hard stuff, man. You gotta.
So 5 to 50 units, true direct to seller, right? That's a thing, right? People are able to get deals done sometimes that way. Not all the time. You'll still see those go through a broker as well, right?
Yeah.
But you're probably the frequency of that happening at that level is going to be a lot more than at say 50 and above or 100 and above, right? Almost exclusively, those are probably going to go through a commercial real estate broker.
Yeah.
Which is really just an agent, folks. They call them brokers for some reason in commercial. They're just a real estate agent. And they're going out there and they're doing one of two things. First thing is it's on market. Now, what is on market? That means they have the slick OM. They're emailing their whole entire list. They're doing property tours. They're doing best and final offers. The whole shebang, the whole entire process to solicit the best offer for that deal, right? That's an on-market deal. Now, off-market, right? Same size deal, same everything. But maybe for whatever reason, we'll get into those, why you would do this here in a minute. The broker is just going to shop that to probably his 10, 20 top buyers, right?
Yeah.
Or people that he knows are going to like that deal in that market or that size. And he's going to say, seller wants this is their terms, here's the financials, what can you do, right? But ultimately, there's not a big price discrepancy between what the seller is going to accept on an on-market deal versus what they're going to accept on an off-market deal, right? First of all, market dictates what the price is going to be one way or the other, right? You might have some high flyer that comes in with some stupid money, on an on-market deal, but that rarely ever happens. Usually they'll kick tires and then they'll back off. Most of the time, you're going to get what the market dictates the price to be. And you can get that just as easily off market as you can on market.
Yep.
Right.
And so for those of you that are kind of newer, right? So let's talk about, if you're a passive investor, someone says off market, right? Really dig in and understand what that means. And if you're a buyer, a newer buyer, really what we talk about whenever we say off market is, hey, we know the brokers really well, right? We're on the short list, right? We're in a handful. And literally right before this, I was telling Ben, there's one deal that we got to get back to the broker on because really showed it to us and I think 3 other groups, right? That's really an off market. But guess what? There's still a broker involved. The broker still getting
there's
commission.
still some competition.
And the broker adds a lot of value and they're building, they're adding value for us.
Yeah.
And they're adding value for their sellers, right?
Yep.
Moving the transaction quickly. He knows who's hot and who's not. He knows what's a fit, what's not, right? So it's a win-win-win for everybody. And so, but it's not the mythical, hey, you know, I got it directly from the seller and nobody else saw this deal, right? I've seen many deals where people say it's off market. You know, they're out there raising money, and and I've seen that deal 3 times come around, right?
Or not even direct to seller, but saying that they're the only ones that the broker showed it to. That, trust me, guys, we have great relationships, especially with brokers here in Texas and in Atlanta. They ain't just showing it to us. As much as we would like to say that we're the cool guys in the room, right? They're definitely shopping it to at least 3 to 5 other groups, right? Because they do want to build that competitive environment.
But let's pause right there. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, Money Mondays, we do this every Monday, 3:30 Central. We're talking about finding off-market deals, but we talk about a lot of different topics. And at the end, we're going to do a basically, 5-10 minute Q&A. And so if anyone has any ideas for future topics, feel free to let us know.
Please.
If anyone has any comments, go ahead and leave them. And I'm going to go through a few of them. So Jefferson says, I love masks, so do we. So we got a lot of things in common. Amira says, taking masks to a whole new level. Of course, that's what we do here at Disrupt, right? We're disrupting the market of masks. Amir also says, what's up? What's up, Amir? We're going to see you a lot more here soon. Kevin Easterly says, Money Mondays. Absolutely, Kevin. So, we got to get you on the show next time, and we'll get you a mask as well.
This is a Kevin mask right here. He probably would have picked this mask.
Well, you don't think Kevin wants to be a dwarf?
No, he's a rebel. He's a rebel, man.
He wants to be a dwarf, dude. I think this guy could use some gym time.
Oh, yeah.
A lot more stronger than your guy.
Yeah, he definitely needs to go to a cycle bar.
But let's keep going. All right. Back to our topics.
All right, so why do off-market deals happen? I think we kind of touched on this a little bit, right? I think actually we didn't talk about it. Why would you do this?
So we're doing it right now, aren't we? So we have a deal in Atlanta that we're selling. If anyone wants to buy a deal in Atlanta, let us know, right? It's actually a nice deal, right? But essentially,
it's got a ton of meat on it too.
We're not doing the entire cycle of showing it to everybody, blasting it. It's really disruptive. Sorry for the pun, right? To staff. And, you get a lot of tire kickers, this or that, versus, we have a price in mind. We know we can probably get that price, right? It's realistic. It's not like we're shooting a high in the sky.
Yep.
And the brokers know who's hot for deals or not, right? So we don't really need to go through all of the headache of doing the full marketing cycle. Whereas if we hit our strike, we're happy and we're good to go. So.
It's because it's a time suck for us, right? As the seller, it's also very, very, I guess, anxiety-ridden process for the on-site staff, right? Is this going to be my new boss? Whenever you're doing property tours, they're going to ask them a ton of questions. That's disruptive to the staff, right? And they're also thinking, should I say that? Was I allowed to say that? And what am I supposed to say? That's why the brokers over there are trying to coach the on-site manager, and they don't want anybody to talk to the maintenance guy because he's probably going to say something stupid. Ultimately, then those people are leaving. They're thinking, am I going to have a job in the next 2 months, right? So ultimately, we like to get the process a little bit farther along, have a PSA in hand, right, that we feel like is solid. Then we would inform the property management company or inform the staff, right, for disrupt management. So that's why we do it. Now, not everybody's the same way, right? But we tend to sell all of our deals off market, and we like to buy off market deals too.
But we might do a full market here soon, so we'll see.
Who knows? We'll see, right? So, one of the other questions that kind of came in: how do you find off market deals, right? I think ultimately everything that we keep talking about, it's relationships, it's numbers in this business, folks, right? So how do you find these types of deals? You got to build relationships with the brokers.
Relationships.
Once again, if you're starting off and you're going for that 5 to 50 unit, right? Maybe come up with a yellow letter campaign or get a list and start cold calling people. Once again, your hit rate is going to be very, very slow or very, very low, and it's probably going to be very, very frustrating for quite some time. But you might get a hit. We know people that have they've sent letters out, they got a hit, right? So it does work maybe less than 1% of the time, right? So you send 1,000 letters out, you can kind of do the back of the napkin, right? You might get 10 responses, So that's why we tend to focus on the relationships that we have with the brokers, and then they bring us off-market deals, right?
Absolutely.
So the last thing that we're kind of talking about is what's the benefits. We kind of talked about it. What's the benefits of it for the seller, right?
Yeah.
Us, right? Because we're going through that process right now. It's less disruptive for the staff. We have less tire kickers. It's less work for us, right? What's the benefit for the buyer?
Man, I'll give you a real example. It's just so much less headache, right? On the buyer side, you're not doing a best and final and then a triple best and final and then 3 buyers interviews and then not winning the deal. Ask me how I know. All right, I'm bitter. But for a buyer, right, you're getting a few. You have a few other competitors, right? But you can be candid with the seller or the broker and saying, here's my price and here's why it is. Sorry, it's not the right deal for me, or it is.
Yeah.
Right. But you're not having to deal with as much noise, right? You and the broker and the seller can have a more direct or more intimate conversation,
Yep.
right? Without all the noise of 50 offers, 50 tours, all that other crap.
Yeah.
That's really, I think, on the buyer side, what it boils down to, right? You can, and then because there's less noise, you probably can strike a more unique deal than you may have otherwise, right?
I do like
that's
that.
maybe one other thing to think about too.
Yeah, you can probably get a little bit more creative, right? The one thing that I like about it, from a buyer standpoint, we're big proponents on having less competition, right? Less competition usually means less of the price being driven up by some idiots that might come from somewhere, and I won't name names or places, but they'll come in with money that they've got more money than sense. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And they'll either come in with a very, very high offer, or they'll come in with something crazy like $1 million non-refundable earnest money day one. Who's going to be able to compete with that, right? And ultimately, a lot of those people fall off. They're just trying to wrap up the deal and then renegotiate it after the fact. But sometimes those people are able to kind of knock everybody out. They also sour the price though, right?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's coming up if there's a couple people that are $1 million more than everybody else, guess what the new price is? It's $1 million more. Yeah. Because hey, if these couple groups are up here and everybody else is down here, well, what are these guys thinking, right? And then they'll really just start laser focusing in on those two groups, and everybody else is pretty much left to the wayside. So that's what happens when you have too much competition. Right now, COVID has kind of dampened that a little bit, but we're starting to see a lot of our friends are buying deals. There's stuff that's happening. Things that would have happened over the summer are now happening now because of COVID. And so, those are some of the benefits, right?
Yeah.
That you're going to see on these off-market deals and why you would do these.
Absolutely.
Right?
So for those, pause right there. I gotta pause Ben because otherwise we'll keep going and going and going.
Man, the Starbucks is pretty good.
But Money Mondays, we do this every Monday, 3:30 Central. We talk about a bunch of different topics. This week we're talking about finding off-market deals. If anyone has any future idea topics, let us know. We're open books. We're happy to talk about just about anything. If anyone has any comments, feel free to drop them and let us know. I'm gonna go through a few comments. So Noor says, boo, Money Mondays, boo back at you. So here's our masks. I actually dressed up as Mr. Incredible, but I forgot my outfit. So
I know, dude. You're the one you had over the one that you showed me over the weekend was pretty cool. You should have done that, man.
That was my costume with the kids, but it's all good. Family dressed up as that one. Let's see. Chat says, hello, guys. Money Mondays.
Hey, Chat. How you doing?
She has a top fan award, which leads me to Ronnie, who I'm sure is probably envious that Chat has a top fan award.
Where are you at, Ronnie?
I don't know why. It's funny that the chat, well done, Chat is a top fan. Ronnie, not as much as a top fan. Sorry, Ronnie.
Sorry, buddy.
But Ronnie says, what's up, guys? He says, I like the blue Disrupt polos. When are y'all getting plaid ones?
I was looking, man. I don't know. You got to probably get that somewhere custom made, man. So I went for another polo because I'm kind of a polo type guy.
Yeah, I'm more of a Tommy Hilfiger. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
All right. So that said, I think we're ready for a Q&A.
Yeah. Well, let's do a little bit. Look, we got one question that came in, right?
Yeah. So if anyone has any comments, questions, feel free to drop them in the meantime. But
so out of our deal flow, right? How many would you say are off-market deals versus on-market?
I'd say.
Now you're kind of our acquisition.
Yeah,
so
I'd say being on market, it's easy as just giving someone an email address, right? So, you get a lot of noise.
Well, I guess the deals that we focus on, though, right?
Yeah,
versus what we see.
But I'd say
let's talk about what
80% are on market, 20% are off market, right?
Okay.
But a lot of the on market one, maybe they're in the markets that we focus on, but they're not deals that we're spinning up the entire system, right?
Yeah.
So,
true.
We still kind of eyeball them versus the off market one. We take a lot closer look at most of those because those are very much a broker's like, hey. I went to a short list, here's the situation, here's the price, here's this. So as a buyer, one other thing we didn't mention, what's nice about the on-market deal, usually there's a price. a very clear price, right? Hey, you hit this, it's yours.
Yep.
Not this, well, we're kind of aiming for this or that, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit more loose, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's why we kind of gravitate towards it. There's a way, like you had said earlier, to kind of maybe negotiate it. Like how can we you know, sweeten our deal a little bit, right? Through better terms or something else, getting creative so we can ultimately win it. And on those types of transactions, you can do that, right? Yep. Versus on an on-market, right? It's all about price. You know, call for offers, best and final number 2, investor questionnaire, or seller questionnaire.
The seller wants to do, you know, a questionnaire, and hey, do you have any more juice? I know we just did 2 best and finals.
Yeah, like, you know, we're going to talk about the price, right? You know, I'm like, really? This is how many best and finals we got going on here?
And for all my broker friends out there, I'm sorry, but we just have to kind of say that.
Well, we had a bad morning. We thought we had a deal, and you know, so we already went through that process.
Yeah, so Ben's already had 5 coffees to make up for it.
Making up for it. So, all right. So we got any Q&A that we're going through, man?
Yeah. So let's see. So chat says, "What an honor, top fan," and I thought that was Ronnie that liked it, but I guess the Disrupt liked it. I thought Save Ronnie was going to be a good sport, and he liked our comment. But but anyone has any more comments, questions? Feel free to let us know.
Come on, this is
one question that came in: how aggressive can you be with off-market offers?
I think just as likely you can be aggressive on that versus on market.
I would say
right?
it's really not much different, honestly, except for you can kind of, again, because there's a lot less people, you're not really as worried about where all the other noise might shake out. You're really just talking to the broker, hey, here's my price, but I need this. The broker can go have a direct conversation with the seller, and you're not time boxed like, oh, you know, deadlines are tomorrow, any of that stuff. And the broker can come back and tell you, hey, here's where he's at. He wanted to counter. He'll accept the hard money, but won't give you early access or whatever it is, right? So you can, I'd say you can probably get more creative with an off-market deal. But you just say in terms of aggressiveness is the same. I guess I don't like the question. The way it was asked, maybe the better question to me is, how different can offers be? And I'd say very similar, but you can get more creative. Yeah.
And once again, I'll answer that question. You can be just as aggressive on an on-market deal as you are an off-market, right? It really just depends on what, you know, how aggressive do you want to be on that deal? Maybe it's a deal that you love that part of town, you love that vintage, that is your deal. You see a clear path to executing your business plan. You might step up a little bit, right? But that could just as easily happen on an on-market deal as it could be on an off-market, right? You know, and that's where the misconception is. I think really where that question is kind of coming from is, you know, are you going to see more aggressive offers on an on-market deal versus an off-market? And I'd say not really. You know, you might have, like I said, you might have some idiots that are somewhere that might throw some highball offer out there, but at the end of the day, that could just as easily happen on an off-market deal. Right, and ultimately, what I love about off-market deals is, especially as a seller, I'm dictating what my price is going to be. Right, my strike is this, you know, and then I determine if I want to take something less than that. Right, you know, and you know, then you can kind of test the market almost. Yeah. Right, you know, without having to commit to anything. And that's also another benefit of going with the off-market kind of process.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So if somebody's getting
if anyone has any more, sorry, good.
No, go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Sorry, I don't realize where you're going.
You go ahead.
Paper, scissors, rock.
Boom.
Everyone's going to watch me beat you paper, scissors, rock right here, right now. Let's do it.
Boom,
paper,
boom,
scissors,
boom.
rock.
Boom,
Paper,
boom,
scissors,
boom.
rock. Boom.
All right.
You go ahead.
So what does that mean? Do I go first?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm getting started in multifamily. You want to learn some tips, right? You know, we have got a cheat sheet for you. So disruptequity.com/MF cheat sheet. You know, it's completely free. We're not trying to sell you anything, right? Now, on the second bullet point, I am trying to sell you something, but I'm going to give you a good deal on it, right? You know, go to investoracademy.net, right? And it will show you how to become a multifamily deal sponsor, right? Me and Ferris, we spend hours sweating, blood, sweat, and tears into these things. We put hours of content online. We walk step by step on how to show people how to be a deal sponsor, how to show people how to be a passive investor, how to underwrite deals, and just how to understand multifamily in general, right? So once again, for our viewers, because you guys are very, very loyal and we appreciate you guys tuning in, Money Mondays is the coupon code. Get 30% off there. You know, we love you guys. I want you guys to kind of, you know, learn the business the right way, right? And there's not going to be any upsell there. It's just a straight up course. You guys can kind of look at it on, you know, at your leisure from your tablet, laptop, computer. Right?
So we got 2 questions that came in. Our friend Cody says, are you seeing as many off-market deals now post-COVID as pre-COVID? No, I wouldn't say as many. I think the ones that are in dire situations still haven't really hit, right? Those guys got forbearance. They got other things to kind of save them.
Yeah.
And honestly, right now, right now, the guys that wanted to sell, if you kind of think about it, right? We have the election tomorrow. We have COVID that kind of happened. A lot of people sold, in the spring, right? Then COVID happened. So kind of pent up demand. So you had a lot that just hit the market where people are like, hey, we just want to sell this sucker.
Like
best
August
price,
was
and we have the
crazy.
time to do it before the election. So yeah, August was kind of the time. So a lot of stuff hit the market. Yes, we got some off market deals. Would I say more? No. Would I say even that? They're not really that different. Yeah.
Like overall, there's definitely less supply right now, right? I think that people are holding on. They're trying to figure out what's going to happen with the election, what's going to happen with stimulus, what's going to happen with eviction moratoriums. I think you're going to see a ton of deals go on the market probably Q1, right? And some are going to be because they have to, right? They've maxed out what they can potentially do on their own and they just have to sell the deal. Or, they're just, that's just the frequency of how this stuff happens, because it's cyclical, right? You usually see stuff come on February, March, April, right? And then you'll kind of see stuff in the tail end of the summer, right? So I would say definitely volume is down, but the percentage of off market, on market is about the same from what I've seen, right? All right, man.
So let's see, we got one more from our buddy Ronnie.
What's your name?
Ronnie Phillip, without the S, guys, not Phillips.
You called him Phillips for like 6 months, dude.
Thoughts on
love you, Ronnie.
Class
I'm just
A
messing with you,
deals
man.
in the current market? I think it's very even market specific, right? I think some markets you can find great price points on Class A deals where there's not a lot of institutional on the sidelines.
That's how we know.
Yeah. Other markets, stuff is hot. So, the thought process is, while the Class A people won't have as much delinquency, arguably, as Class C, right? Class C is more
some
retail,
concessions.
more front, you people facing jobs, unfortunately, right? Class A can do more work from home usually. And so you have that benefit going for you. But then also Class A, right? If you're talking about, depends on what kind of tier within Class A.
Yep.
But Class A is work, and people have to compete on price, and that's
It's
not always the
concessions.
best place to be either.
Yeah, and once again, I would say that it's really sub-market driven. Like to take a broad swath of Class A is going to hurt because blah 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 or whatever, and Class B is the place to be. I think that's what I love about real estate, right? It's hyper local. What might be working in Atlanta doesn't necessarily work in Houston, and vice versa. You have to look at each market that you're in and saying what's working in this market and why, right? And then invest accordingly. Right, so we're looking at some Class A deals here in Texas, and they're working, right? Whereas before they weren't, right? But why are they? You start kind of taking a step back and looking at it holistically, and you figure out there's certain reasons why we've stepped into that market, right? All right. What else we got?
One more question. So Jefferson says, any opinion on buying distressed properties at 65% market price and able to refi and get all money back in 2 or 3 years? Do those deals still exist?
Oh,
yeah, they still exist.
I thought he had one. I was
No. And is that a good deal? Yeah, honestly, there's no shame in buying a deal where you got to do bridge, right?
Yeah, dude.
We've looked at those kind of deals.
We've done those types of deals.
Yeah, so, do we think you can get a refi in 2 to 3 years? Yes. Are low interest rates here to stay? Let me check my crystal ball. It tells me I don't know, but I do think that they're probably here for a while. Right, and and if not, just have contingency plans. Make sure you have more reserves than you need. Make sure that if you can't go out 80% leverage, but you can go out 70, that you're not going to be underwater, right? So
and check out Peak My Financing, right? Anton Matley, he's always sizing up all of our deals. The guy really knows his stuff, and he'll kind of tell you the bridge market has changed since COVID. Like a lot of people pulled out. So it makes it a little bit more challenging to do those deals, but absolutely don't shy away from a deal just because it's bridge. Right? A lot of the good bridge lenders will give you a 3-year term with 2 1-year extensions. That's 5 years, folks, that you can get your business plan done. If you can't get it done in 5 years, you're probably not doing something right. So, ultimately, it's not like one of those things where you're going to flip out of a hard money loan in 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the misconception about bridge. So.
Yes, we're down to one bridge loan, I think, on our assets.
One bridge.
So we did a big refi last Friday, so that's a good one, right? That was a bridge to a Fannie, and it's a lot more work than we expected, and just there's all sorts of things that you kind of have to work through. So
well, one thing that we'll point out, right, and we'll do a little bit of a case study on this in the coming weeks, right? So I'm not gonna completely spoil that, but there's definitely some new escrows because of COVID.
Yep.
Right. So we'll kind of get into that in the coming weeks.
We have $886,000 sitting in an account that the lender is holding, but we can get that in 9 months, right? Because
maybe 12. I don't know. It's still TBD.
I think 9 months is the quickest you can ask for it, right? As long as me and Ben have a bet here. He's learned not to bet me because I just kicked his butt at basically rock, paper, scissors, rock. But I'm telling him in 9 months is whenever, according to the paperwork, we can request it in 9 months. And as long as we meet the stress tests,
They don't actually
No.
release it for 12 months.
I dispute it.
All right.
Bet
all
you.
right, all right. We'll review the loan agreement. But
Bet you $100,000
bottom line,
right
that's
here,
still
right
new.
now. No.
I'm not betting. No, hell no.
I needed to get on video evidence, all right? No, but
I'm not
but
agreeing
the
to
money's
that
sitting with the lender, and at some point we'll get that back, and that'll
Yeah.
just be straight cash to our investors. which
But
would be the
at
nice
the end of
thing.
the day, that's different than it was 6 months ago. So, I mean, refinances, you can still get them done. But the other thing that they're really looking at is delinquency, right? Across the board in our industry, that is the underlying problem that a lot of people are not talking about. Is that there's people that just aren't paying their rent, and you can't evict them.
And if you are
so
gonna,
the balance continues to get bigger.
Yeah, and
and
maybe
bigger,
this is a good thing because this came up, for our management company, right? One of the people we manage, it's kind of talking, and basically one thing a lot of syndicators don't realize is the difference between what accrual versus cash basis actually does to the financials, right?
Yep.
A deal can look like it's home running on the collection side if you're never writing off your bad debt.
Yep.
Right, and as an owner, you can take pretty much as long as you need to write off your bad debt if you can't move the person out. Arguably, is that bad debt? When is it considered bad debt, right? So,
Well, no, but you could. The flip side is we've had people come in 6 months later with $5,000 checks and say, "Hey, I'm here to take out my whole entire balance too."
And so I like those tenants. But basically, what we're getting at is that it's important to understand what the cash collections and number actually is. That is true money in the bank. And so if you're a buyer, definitely ask for that from the sellers. And lenders aren't stupid. They ask us that too, and they dig into all that, right?
Picking that apart.
They want to make sure. Luckily, that deal is collecting cash, so I'm definitely proud of the team for that one. So, team, I know you guys, the team does watch our show, so team, definitely appreciate your y'all's hard work on that one.
No, great job, guys.
So, but it makes a difference, right? And so just know that if you're going in for a refi, right, it's not just what your NOI looks like according to your accrual basis.
No.
They're going to ask, what is your collections? Well, why aren't you writing it off? And that can screw things up.
No, what is your delinquency, right?
Yeah,
They're going to look at
luckily
all that
it worked
stuff.
out for us on that one. But
Yeah.
just kind of you start to realize how much they dig in on some of these other nuances.
So I know we went off on a little bit of a tangent, but that's the answer to your question.
All right, let's see. So Jefferson says, okay, marking this date in 9 months that will get refinanced or not. That's the question. The case study will be awesome transition from bridge to Fannie. Yeah, 9 months. You guys heard it here
No,
first.
I'm going to find out before we do our case study, and then I'm going to make him stroke me a check for $100K.
Or you're going to stroke me a check for $100K. Not an or, but you mean. Sorry. But that said, Money Mondays, we do this every Monday, 3:30 Central. We'll talk about a bunch of different topics. We're talking obviously about finding off-market deals.
Yep.
Today is that was a topic. Usually at the last 5-10 minutes, we're doing Q&A like we are now. But we're open to topics, we're open to suggestions. So if anyone has any comments, questions, feel free to let us know.
Yeah,
right?
we want it to be interactive, folks. Like, you're seeing people comment, right? We want people to comment. We want people to ask questions. We want people to, propose topics, right? Yeah. Now, we don't have to just talk about multifamily. We know a lot about real estate. We know a lot about running businesses, being an entrepreneur, technology, So, I mean, if any of that stuff, resonates with you guys want us to dive a little bit deeper in that, we're open to suggestions.
But before we wrap up, what's next week's topic? See, Ben got nervous there. He was wishing he wore the mask so I wouldn't see the nervousness, the deer at the headlights, kind of the face, because he wasn't sure how hard of a question I was going to ask, but easy question.
Yeah, no, you guys, what you don't see is I get to see the preview of what the next one is, so how to find
But you didn't know what the question was. That's why you got nervous.
How do you refinance your multifamily property, which is what we're talking about. So I guess we're doing that case study next week. So I guess we're
amazing. We mentioned it this morning, and now it's on the agenda for next week. So
Shanna is on top of these
I know.
So we'll go through this. This is going to be. We'll open up our kimono. This is going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we want people once again to do the business the right way. So we'll kind of go through what happened on. This is real world, just closed on Friday. Case study. So you guys need to tune in for that. It should be exciting.
Jose Escobedo says, I just totally clicked off. He was saying, he said, wait for it, waiting for it to load. Still waiting for it to load. All right, so great info, guys. Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, thanks, buddy.
All right, and with that said, going once. If anyone has any more questions, Amanda Larson, how's it going, Amanda? Long time no see.
Hey, Amanda.
Says great topic. Looking forward to it.
Thank you,
Thank you. Looking forward to that. Hopefully you host another event here soon, and we'll make sure we'll make that happen.
Oh, actually, no. We are hosting an event, MFIN.
Oh, well, actually, I met Amanda hosting a small get-together.
Oh, yeah.
Geez, way to take away Amanda's thunder. Sorry, Amanda. Ben tends to do that. But Ben's right. MFIN, we did last week decide we will do our next conference, Multifamily Investor Network.
February 27th?
February 27th.
Here in Houston, folks.
So that's our big one, right?
We're planting the flag. We're
last year we had
in
almost 400 people in. We had the mayor of Houston, all sorts of breakout panels. So one action-packed day. Open up your calendars, keep it empty. February 27th. Look forward to seeing you guys there.
Soft
you guys will see more information
come out
from
with
us.
we'll have some coupon codes and some other stuff just to kind of make it, because we want as many people there as possible.
So we're
it's a good
excited to have
networking
that
opportunity.
Absolutely.
All right.
So
we're
with
gonna
that
go
said,
and
let's
wrap.
call it a wrap then. Thank
right,
you
everybody.
all very much.
We will see you next week.